You are 34 years old. You stand in front of the mirror in a small bathroom. The light is cold, white, like in a police station. Your face looks tired. Sharp features. Barely noticeable lines near your eyes. A gaze that doesn't know how to rest, even when you're home. A badge lies on the table. You stare at it longer than necessary. And suddenly you remember yourself as a child. You're sitting in front of an old television. On the screen, there's a movie about the police. Heroes running, shooting, saving people. Everything looks right. Simple, clear. And that's when you decide, I'm going to do that too. It feels like it's about justice, about strength, about doing good. But no one tells you it's also about exhaustion that never really ends. About choosing between bad and worse. About the people you couldn't save, even when you did everything right. You graduate from the academy. The uniform fits perfectly. Your parents are proud. Someone says, "Our boy protects order now." And you believe it. The first months on duty feel important. You respond to calls, petty thefts, arguments, drunken fights. You feel like part of the system holding the city together. But very quickly, another understanding arrives. Justice isn't always victory. Sometimes it's simply the lesser evil. Years pass. You become a senior officer. Your face changes. Your eyes grow sharper, but heavier. You start noticing details others miss. Shaking hands. Empty apartments. People who never ask for help, but silently scream for it. You get used to everything. That's the scariest part. Because getting used to it means nothing surprises you anymore. Not even pain. Not even death. And then that day comes. The day that changes everything. A morning call. At first it sounds routine. An accident. A bridge. People involved. But something in the dispatcher's voice is different. The speed. The tension. Short, clipped phrases. When you arrive, you understand why. A bus. Overturned. Smoke. Panic. People trapped inside. Someone screaming. Someone pounding on the glass. Someone already silent. And you don't think. You just act. You break the door open. Pull people out. 1, 2, 3. Someone unconscious. Someone in shock. Someone calling for their mother. And you have no time for emotions. There's only movement. Air. Glass cutting into your hands. Screams. Commands. And more movement. You pull out the last person's seconds before everything could have become much worse. Then silence. Strange silence. Wrong silence. People standing by the roadside. Someone crying. Someone laughing from shock. Someone simply sitting on the ground, unable to believe they're alive. And then someone says, "You saved us." Then another voice. And another. You don't answer. Because you don't know what to say. Because part of you is still inside that smoke. Later, when the medics arrive, when the situation settles, when the city slowly returns to normal, people come up to you. They thank you, shake your hand, hug you, cry, and you see their eyes. And for the first time in a long while, something inside you loosens just a little. You think, maybe this is the point. Maybe this is the answer to why you're here. That evening they let you go home late. Your uniform smells like smoke. Your hands shake from exhaustion. You walk into your apartment. Silence. You take off your jacket. Sit down. Stare at the wall. And for a long time, you can't understand why instead of joy, there's emptiness. You go into the bathroom, look in the mirror, and you don't see a hero or a savior, just a man who didn't break today. You pick up the badge, look at it, and suddenly remember yourself as a little kid in front of that television, the one who thought police work was just heroism. Now you know it isn't. It's exhaustion, responsibility, decisions without perfect options, and nights that never end peacefully. You go back to work the next day. The city keeps living its life. People laugh, argue, fall in love, forget. And you're the one holding the frame together so it doesn't all collapse. Sometimes you see things you never forget. Sometimes you help people who won't even remember your face. Sometimes you arrive too late, and that stays with you, but you keep going anyway, because there's no other choice. Because if you stop, someone else won't make it in time. There are partners, colleagues, People who understand without words. You hold each other together. Jokes in the patrol car. Coffee from a thermos. Brief glances after hard calls. And silence that sometimes says more than conversations ever could. Years pass. You're no longer the rookie. You're the one they call first. The one who makes decisions while others are still thinking. And you notice how life narrows into the job. Morning, work. Day, work. Night, another call. And work again. But you don't complain. Because it was a choice. Was it a choice? Sometimes you're not sure. One day they tell you you're receiving an award. For service. For the people. For that same day when you pulled dozens of lives out of smoke. There's a ceremony. Handshakes. Photos. Praise. Applause. People call you a hero. And all you can think is, you simply did what you had to do. That's all. Then you go home. Take off a uniform. Sit down. Look in the mirror. And realize no one sees what you see. No one hears the phone calls that still ring in your head at night. No one remembers the faces you couldn't save. But you live with it. And every year you become quieter, deeper, heavier, and at the same time, calmer. Because now you know who you are. You're not a hero and not a victim. You're just a police officer. And this is your whole life. Sometimes you wonder what it would have been like otherwise, if you had never joined the force. But the answer is always the same. You still would have ended up here. Because there